So, Attorney Marvin, what is the process for sponsoring a parent for a green card? Well, there's two main ways this is done. One is within the United States and one is outside the United States. Both processes start with the I-130 petition for family member or alien relative. So you need that petition filed. The point of that petition is to show the relationship between the sponsor, who is a U.S. citizen, and their parent. So there's slightly different requirements for fathers and mothers, especially if the mom and dad are not married or have never been married. But the process is basically the same, which is proving the government that you have the right to sponsor a family member and proving that the relationship is a real relationship and that that person has the ability to move forward with a green card request. So depending on the history of your parent in the United States, they may actually be able to do the process while inside the United States. So that's called adjustment of status. So if they are able to legally enter the United States, a lot of times they can petition inside the United States and have their interview in the United States, if at all. Some of my clients have not even had to go to interviews. It really depends on their immigration history, how many times they visited, things like that. So I say always talk to an immigration attorney about this particular issue, because some people don't have the ability to do the process inside the United States. Sometimes the government doesn't like it when you enter and apply for your green card request inside the United States. It really just depends on what's going on politically and what's going on in the immigrant's history, okay? If you've got no problems, your parents have never had any trouble coming to the United States and visiting and leaving when they're supposed to, chances are very good that you would be able to do it inside the United States. But some people don't have a visa and they can't visit the United States. So the process is going to require them to be outside the country the entire time. So that's what's called consular processing. So consular processing is going through basically the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State for the green card process. Department of State is the embassy. So the Department of State owns the embassies, and they conduct all the interviews and all of the different hoops that you have to jump through. Well, not all of them, but most of them go through the Department of State. USCIS definitely makes the determination on the I-130 part of the process. Everything else is done through the Department of State, with the interview being conducted overseas in the country of birth for your parent, okay? So the good thing is, because your parents are considered what's called immediate relatives, they do not need to wait for a visa to be available. That's not true for really any other relationship. So you're typically having to look at the visa bulletin every month and seeing when you're finally able to move forward with the green card process. That's not true for parents. Immediate relatives, you don't have to wait for the availability. So you can file right away, and it's just the processing time that you have to wait for the government to do their job. But it's not a statutory waiting period like it is for the other classes, okay? So again, this process outside the United States, it depends on the country, because some countries are very effective and efficient and others not so much. Really comes down to how often these countries deal with immigrants wanting to come to the United States with a green card. The more popular the country is, the better they are at processing things, but the longer it takes to process at the same time. I mean, you really don't have a choice. I'm just telling you what expectations are. If your parents are Mexican, the consuls in Mexico deal with a lot of immigrants coming from Mexico, so they're usually very efficient at their jobs, but the amount of people usually waiting for these processes are a lot more than most other countries. So it can take a lot longer than you're expecting. but that is the process outside the United States. And it's a process that, if you have an attorney that's done it enough times, there's no issues with it. It's filing this stuff the right way, and it's going through. I can't think of the last time I had any requests for evidence or any problems with a filing like this, because I've done a lot of them, obviously, but the relationship between a child and a parent is generally more easy to prove, and there's a lot fewer questions from the government for that sort of relationship. So that is the process for a parent getting a green card either inside the United States or outside. Usually the total amount of time is about 1.5 to 2 years maximum, and that could change a little bit depending on the service center you're dealing with. Subscribe to my channel. I have other videos such as processing times for the first part of the process that I have posted. So take a look at that so you can see what the current processing times are. As always, you have questions, drop in the comments. If you have suggestions for videos, just let me know and I will do them. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click on the alerts so that you can get notified when we post these videos. And as always, reach out to us directly if you have a question or if you need help with any immigration-related matter. I'm around and I'm happy to help you.